Hi everyone, and welcome to the Fake Love and Flying Monkeys podcast. My name's Nova Gibson and I am your host. My area of expertise is in supporting victims and survivors of narcissistic abuse and other toxic relationships. I'm the principal counsellor at Brighter Outlook Narcissistic Abuse Counselling Service, and I'm also the author of Fake Love, Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. In this podcast, we're going to be talking about everything from the initial pink cloud you find yourself on at the start through to the horrific discard and the powerful trauma bond that keeps you hooked. So take your imaginary seat on the roller coaster that is narcissistic abuse, and don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you never miss an episode of Fake Love and Flying Monkeys. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fake Love and Flying Monkeys. Does the narcissist ever miss you? Do they miss you after they discarded you and moved on with someone else who appears to be their new soulmate? Or maybe you've managed to escape and you're just sitting there wondering to yourself if they're thinking about what they gave up and what they lost, and maybe they're regretting that decision to discard you. Actually, it's a very common question. Now, those of you who are further down the track in your healing journey, you may be thinking to yourself, well, who cares? And you know what? I hope they do miss me because I did everything for them, and now they might just be aware of all that I did for them and just how good they had it with me. Or maybe you're just thinking, you know what? I don't think about them at all. But for those of you who are thinking about that and wondering if they miss those good times, what I found with my beautiful clients who come to see me in their healing journey from narcissistic abuse is that when they're wondering whether the narcissist misses them, it's normally because they are the ones who are missing the narcissist. Whatever you're thinking, you're entitled to feel that way. No one can tell you how you should think or feel when you're healing from this horrible trauma. And if you are feeling a little empowered and righteous, that's okay, because you were the one who was abused, and nobody can tell you to heal in a different way than you feel comfortable. But let's talk about why it is such a common thing that victims ask themselves. Well, think about the trauma bond. Think about that very powerful attachment that you had or you have to your abuser. And you know that they're off there with someone else, and maybe that person is getting all the good side of the narcissist, and you're left there with no closure. You don't understand what happened. You feel responsible, like somehow it's your fault because your abuser conditioned you to blame yourself all the time. And you're sitting there wondering if they remember all of those times that felt so special to you. And when you are asking yourself, do they miss me? What you're really asking for is validation. You want to know that you weren't wrong when it came to those good times, and that your feelings were correct and they were something that was real for you at that time. And the truth is, they were very real. Your feelings were based on what the narcissist was showing you at that time. They were pretending to be someone else, and they were looking out for all of your vulnerabilities. They were listening very carefully about how to be your perfect soulmate. And unfortunately, we tell them when we think we have such an empathic ear in that love bombing stage. So the narcissist gets to know you intimately. They know what you want. They know what will make you feel good. And they set about creating those memories for you that are so real. They feel real at the time. And that's what makes it so painful down the track when you realize how one-sided this relationship was. It was based on a lie, and that this person was pretending and they were simply an actor on a stage, and that makes you feel silly, crazy, stupid sometimes because you were in love with someone who doesn't exist. Now, if you do have those feelings where you're feeling stupid and you think, oh, why didn't I leave at that first red flag? Well, number one, it wasn't a red flag for you at the beginning because of all the subtle, manipulative ways the narcissist conditioned you to override those red flags. And your ability to override the red flags was in direct correlation with how those red flags became bigger and bigger and more overt. The bigger the red flags, the more capacity you had to override them. So if that's you, please give that guilt, shame, whatever it is, whatever that negative feeling is, give it away to the universe. Give it away to your higher power, because you don't deserve to have that guilt. That guilt lies squarely on the shoulders of your abuser. So all of the strategies the narcissist incorporates to get you to override the red flags, and at the same time they're creating these memories. They're making you feel amazing. At those times you do feel amazing, and therefore, because you're a normal person with a normal range of emotions, you attach a feeling to that memory, and it feels very, very special to you. Unfortunately, the narcissist has no attachment to any memory. Probably the only thing they will remember with any great fondness is the ones when they were angry at you. Those special times that you felt were simply times that they were manipulating you. So the narcissist has no attachment to any of those wonderful memories or times that you have inside your mind. There is no point, and many of you will have found this out the hard way. There's no point in reminding them about the birth of your baby, or that special song that you used to dance to, or the day you planted that sold sign out the front of your home that just sat in your memory banks as such a memorable time that you would think about forever because it was just so special. They don't attach to those memories. They are just something that happened, and trying to remind them of those times that felt so good to you will be met with a sneer. They will think that you're trying to manipulate them because there is no fond attachment to those times. They were just another Tuesday to the narcissist. So if, when you're asking yourself that question, think about why. It's most probably because you're still grieving the relationship. It's a double whammy for victims of narcissistic abuse, because not only are you grieving a relationship, you're grieving a relationship that never was. And it's not your abuser that you're grieving everything that you lost, your hopes, your dreams, your goals. You lost time, you lost yourself. All of this grief and the fact that you now know that those memories were based on a lie. That is so painful. So when you're looking back and you're thinking, do they miss me? It's you still trying to process that those times were based on a lie, because that takes a lot of work to kind of undo those neural pathways and make different connections with those times, instead of perhaps thinking about a song that you might hear on the radio that brings about, all kinds of wonderful feelings, because you remember the feeling you had when you were listening to it or dancing to it with the narcissist. And because now you know that that song is actually associated with your abuse. It takes time to disentangle those memories and give them a different meaning. Now, I know I always sound so blunt when I say this, and I certainly don't say it to increase anyone's pain, certainly not the pain of my counseling clients. But I think once you come to terms with the fact, or you get to that point of acceptance, it's like ripping the Band-Aid off and just facing it and processing that pain. I think when you get to that place where you realize that those times weren't real, that this person didn't love you. Why? Because they can't love anyone. That doesn't mean it wasn't real for you, or that there's something wrong with you. But if you can come to that place where you realize that they don't love you, I think that's the bottom. That's where you can only move up and really start your healing journey. So if the narcissist can't love anyone, it's not about you not being lovable. They can't love anyone. They just don't have the traits necessary to love another human being. If they can't love you, then they're not going to miss something that they never loved in the first place. And that's realization is part of the pain that you feel. Realizing that is just traumatizing for victims. But if they're only attached to you because they benefit from it in some way, they need you to support that false mask that they wear, to give them narcissistic supply. So when they move on and they've just deemed you just useless because they've used up all your goodness, when they move on, they don't look back. They don't miss something they never loved in the first place, and they don't love the next person or the next person after that. The only thing a narcissist misses, if they do, is what they got out of you, what they were able to siphon out of you. Perhaps it was your money, or you had a home, or it was just the fact that you cared for them and you cooked for them, or the fact that you tolerated their abuse and you thought that they were a victim, which enabled you more to tolerate their abuse because they told you about how much they had been hurt in the past. Whatever it is, if they're missing you, it's because they miss what you gave them. They don't miss who you are, or those little idiosyncrasies that make up you as a person, all those beautiful parts of you. They don't miss anyone. They feel like they are in withdrawal from narcissistic supply. That is their oxygen, so they will look back to previous targets, or they'll look around for someone that they've done a little bit of grooming with to get a quick fix. But as far as missing someone like you and I would look back at a relationship we had with fond memories, no, they don't miss anyone, because there is no loving attachment to begin with. It's a terribly painful realization when you think about the fact that the narcissist misses you like they miss an old vacuum cleaner or an old coffee machine that used to make really good coffees until it broke down. They miss you like they miss an old appliance they once had, and they forget about the usefulness of that appliance when they upgrade to a brand new appliance that they haven't yet burnt out. So whatever you do, guys, if you're thinking about that and wondering if they miss you, I want you to get to that place where you do say, you know what, I hope they are. Not that I want you to do anything about it, because that will just reward them. But eventually I want you to just get to that place of, yeah, you just don't think about them, because they just don't have the ability to impact negative or positively on your life anymore. You're in that place of yeah, and you could care less if they won the lotto or they came down with some nasty case of STD, gonorrhea, syphilis, something like that. You just don't think about them because you are so busy getting on with your new life. But if you have had those thoughts cross your mind, you're not abnormal. It's so normal to think about something that you still attach good memories with. But eventually, with all the work you're doing on your healing journey, you will come to a place where those memories do not hold the same attachment and the same conditioned feelings and responses in you that they once did. And that brings us to the end of another Fake Love and Flying Monkeys episode. I hope you enjoyed that episode, guys. It's normal to wonder if they miss you for all of the reasons I listed. And if you are thinking there's something wrong with you, then you give that guilt away to the universe right now, because there is nothing wrong with you. There's a whole lot wrong, though, with your abuser. And on that note, guys, please, if you'd like to have a one-on-one counseling session with me, just see my website in the description. And don't forget to follow me on my other social media platforms and get your copy of my best-selling book, Fake Love, Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. On that note, it's bye from me for now. Until tomorrow's episode, remember, you are worthy of love, and you are worthy of so much more than a lifetime of fake love and flying monkeys.